Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Zarathustra's Serpent, and today we're going to be talking about the war in Gaza, some of the effects downstream of that, a little discussion about our societies, and where we think everything stands. I know it's very unusual for us to be streaming on this channel. It's been a very long time since we've done this, so we appreciate the one or two of you who are coming back to join us this morning, and we hope to provide you with some interesting and insightful discussion. So, yeah. Is there anything you want to say to start out, Z? Uh, Something like that, yeah. Yeah. So, war in Gaza. It lasted 2 years. Current estimates place the number of Palestinian dead at around 60 to 70,000. We'll see how those numbers hold up moving forward. And the world has expressed a lot of opinions. There's been a lot of noise made about this war. Well, let's contribute some of our own noise and hopefully try to extract some signal. Just a moment, hold on. I'm getting some remarks here that your audio cannot be heard right now. So let me go ahead and see if we can make an adjustment there. Appreciate everybody's patience. YouTube has made some changes, not all of them for the best. Okay, could you try now?
Can you hear me now?
Let's go ahead and ask the audience. Can you hear Zarathustra? Go ahead and talk.
Did you
See.
hear that last one? No?
I'm waiting for them to respond. Can you guys hear him? Okay, they say that they hear but you echo. Uh,
Hear what?
but you echo.
Echo.
Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to try shutting off my mic when you talk and see if that helps at all.
Alright. How about now? Talk again.
How about is the echo, guys? Can you live with it, or is it preventing you from being able to understand what he's saying? Because
Could it be
YouTube,
anything on my end? I don't think so.
I don't know. It may be the double layering. YouTube has changed the way streaming is done in the past 7 years since we've done this. So there may be consequences when it comes to the way we set things up. Can you guys understand what he's saying when he talks? I realize there's an echo, but can you discern what he's trying to say?
Just. Oh, this is. We tried to do this a month ago and we keep having technical problems. Uh, for a month now.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead anyway, and we'll just take the feedback as it comes.
Alright. So, as I was saying, in the beginning of the war, I felt like I was very pessimistic. I felt Hamas had all the cards, and I felt that to win the war, and it was very important to win because to strike a blow to jihadism. Uh, the first thing I want to happen was that to widen the scope of the war from just fighting against Gaza to fighting against jihadism. Basically fighting against the jihadi axis of Iran. Uh, and and it took about a year until because they were kind of helping Gaza, all these proxies, Iran and its proxies. But the reason why is that uh, so if Hamas just has to survive, and it will emerge victorious, because you know we did October 7th, and then we managed to survive Israel's retaliation.
Just when you say we, for any conspiracy theorists out there, Zarathustra is not saying that he personally partook in October 7th.
Uh, um, but the jihadi axis has been bragging for decades that they will succeed where the Arab countries failed and destroy Israel. They always said that Islam will show Islam is the solution, Islam is the answer, and we will show you once we fight Israel, we will defeat it easily. Um, so basically, all we had to do uh, in the war against the jihadi axis is to survive, to win, because they promised they're going to destroy us. And we not only survived, but we humiliated them. So, in many ways, we totally humiliated them.
Yeah, you got a whole list of people. You got Mohammed Deif, you got Yahya Sinwar, you
Yeah,
got
basically everyone.
everybody.
Nasrallah, yeah, almost everyone. I'll talk a bit later about who we got, but yeah. Um, and so I will so you know the war had to go on until we did that. And after we did that, I was happy with that. I said, okay, but there's still one thing we must do, because this is a chance to take care of the Iranian nuclear. But because we were living for years under two threats. One was the existential threat of the Iranian nuclear weapon, nuclear buildup, because they're actually crazy enough to do it, you know, to try to destroy Israel with a nuclear attack. No, and say, okay, we will sacrifice millions of Iranians, but we will destroy Israel, and this will be for the glory of Allah and all that, and we can take all the shaheeds and all that will come from it. So we are all very worried here about the possibility of a nuclear Iran, and it looked like we missed the chance um, for years. It looked like we missed the chance to do anything about it. It looked like first of all, Iran was building all these proxies and its power, and we knew that if we attacked them, the retaliation would cause great destruction here. Um, and also they built in a way that our weapons were not good enough to destroy. But so this was a chance, and after and the other threat was it wasn't exactly existential, but an attack. They built basically this was what we feared. The October 7th, we knew that they were planning that. We knew that they were planning, but what they wanted to do is a combined attack from all directions, from the north, from Gaza, from
Yeah,
Lebanon,
from what
Hezbollah,
I understand,
Hamas.
Sinwar blew his load early. He didn't coordinate with the others because he was
Yes,
paranoid
yes.
about Mossad.
Um, Yeah, and they did not call it. They thought that they will join in. This was the plan. The plan was we do the attack, and then everybody else will join in. And on that day, on October 7th, uh, while the attack was going on, Muhammad Def went on air, something that never happened before. I actually thought that Muhammad Def was a myth, by the way. I said I'd never seen him, never heard him. Uh, um, so, no, he went on there and he said, "This is the moment. All the armies of jihad now together." But they were not prepared. Uh, Hezbollah was not prepared. Iran was not prepared. They did not join in. Um, also,
The long story
Serpent
short
did.
is
Yeah.
the a substantial proportion of Israel's victory. It sounds like came from the mistakes made by the other side.
I mean, in every war there are mistakes. We would have won anyway, but it would have been a much bigger price if they all joined in. Um, yeah. Okay. So we destroyed that. We destroyed that threat, and then the chance came to take out the Iranian nuclear. And if you remember, it took months talking about it, and the Americans were holding us back for all sorts of reasons. But yes, but in the end we did that as well. So this okay, and so okay, we won the war. We won the war, but not the battle against. There was still the battle against Gaza. Um, and here we were in a losing position as long as there were live hostages, because the plan of Hamas was we keep the hostages, and we put out videos and we torture them, and they knew what it does to the Israeli public. They were hoping that in this way they would get Israel to lift the blockade that existed since 2007. And if Israel lifts the blockade, it's they can bring in weapons, and then they can
Yeah,
start.
but that
It's
sounds like a tactical objective. What do you think was the strategic objective?
uh, what in the war. This was a strategic.
Because
They wanted to.
it seems to
They wanted
me
to.
it seems to me geopolitical isolation is the more long term type of goal that they were shooting for.
Um, I mean, it's part of the overall tactic. It has been always. It has been part of the overall tactic uh, to attack Israel and then blame it for the wars. That's part of that. But in the war, what they want to achieve, the strategy was a victory for them, was to get Israel in exchange for releasing the hostages to lift the blockade, and they were sure they were winning, and they were talking like they were winning, uh, until days before the ceasefire deal, which I don't know how Trump exactly did it. I think Trump came through in a big way here. Uh, I mean, basically, Turkey and Qatar put the pressure on Hamas to release the hostages. I don't know what they were promised in turn, but the moment they did, the moment we got all the hostages back, now we are winning. We are in a winning position because, like I said, to win, Israel needs to destroy Hamas. A victory for Hamas will be to to remain in control of Gaza,
Practically
or even to
speaking,
remain.
what does it
Yeah.
mean to destroy Hamas? Because I've seen the playing card set, where you got a deck of cards, but instead of like two of spades or jack of hearts, it's the faces of different Hamas members. Does destroying Hamas means pulverizing this entire deck, or does it mean something else?
No, I mean the deck. First of all, the deck is pretty much destroyed, but um, it, it basically means that Hamas is no longer in control of Gaza, and what we want is that no longer exists in Gaza as an organization, as a terrorist organization, and this is what we are trying to achieve now. Israel is trying to achieve that now, uh, and the thing is, Israel now it controls the control. Basically, now we have full blockade of Hamas. We control its border with Egypt as well. So they can't bring in weapons in any way. They can still create weapons, I suppose, but
Wouldn't it be the case, though, that so long as a single person puts on a green headband and starts, firing an AK-47, that Hamas can be said to continue existing, even if it's just that one person on
yes,
that
oh,
one
yeah,
day?
okay. I don't mind that. It's not what we are talking in terms of when it's not no longer a threat. Uh, the fact that terrorists exist, yeah,
So when,
we've been dealing with terrorism for since 1920. Yeah,
okay, so when we say Hamas is no longer a threat, that implies there's a certain set of operational criteria that have to be satisfied, certain objectives that would need to be met in order to say, okay, we've crossed this threshold, they are no longer a threat. Do you have a sense of what exactly that means practically?
well, look, before October 7th, Hamas was an army. It was the Gaza army. It had battalions. It had 24 battalions and 5 divisions, um, tens of thousands of soldiers. They were organized. Every battalion had its area, had its territory. Um, that's one thing. The other thing, they were in control of the people of Gaza in every way, just holding them with an iron fist, uh, educating them, turning them basically into anti-Semites, um, into jihadis, um, bringing in weapons. Uh, so, so this build, and of course, all the infrastructure. It's unbelievable what they built there. Yes, hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of tunnels, underground, an underground city. Um, all of this, uh, you can only achieve that if you are in control of Gaza. So what we're trying to do is, Israel is trying to get to a point where Hamas cannot do that. It cannot. It's no longer the government of Gaza where it can just build whatever it wants. Then there's the okay, remaining as a terrorist organization. Uh, can it arm itself in any effective way? Um, the fact that there will be terrorists in Gaza, yeah, of course there will be terrorists in Gaza. Uh, that's the part of the Palestinian culture, and it's not going to change anytime soon because the trajectory is even worse. Um,
So let's
yeah,
let's
so this
let's skip ahead a little bit and talk more large scale consequences for Israeli society. How does Israel generally feel about this war?
kind of hard to get. The big problem here was, there's the big divide, which is the same as elsewhere in the West. You have the right wing that completely lost faith in the experts in the institutions, and actually it's in control. It's a right wing government that is this kind of it sees itself as fighting to liberate Israel from the control of these elites. Um, and before October 7th, we were kind of, I would say, on the verge of a civil war, but it finally became a possibility. Um, and the left, so they are trying to basically wrestle control away from the Supreme Court mainly, which is very very strong in Israel,
Right.
has a lot of power. Um,
Right. Is
and
Israeli society was, as Nasrallah thought, basically cobwebs that they just had to, they had to have this one big demoralizing event to tear everybody apart. But the opposite happened. Everybody ended up rallying, and you ended up with this war where Israel seems at least tactically better off substantially better off than the Palestinians. Um, but what about in terms of their view of Israel's standing in the world?
Uh,
How do Israelis
um,
feel about this?
Israelis believe that the world is anti-Semitic. So the they don't really, you know, they don't really think that there was any essential change. Um,
Is this a kind of fatalistic attitude it's adopted with respect to PR? Oh, the world is going to hate Israel regardless, so there's no point in trying to make our case to the rest of the world. It's just let's just
yes.
do what we get. That kind of how do you feel about that? Do you think this is the correct decision?
No, and I think well the PR was done all wrong because uh, the uh, uh, they didn't realize the people who are responsible for it. I don't think they realize that the world has changed. They did not adjust to the internet. There was always the idea was that we need America, and we can forget about the rest of the world. And the way to gain America's support, that's how they are, or that's traditionally, was first of all to have a strong lobby in Washington, and secondly, when you go on the media, on mass media, to have talking points, to have the sound bites. Because this, I mean, on television, this is all you can do. Yeah, you need good sound bites uh, and this can no longer do. You need to when I was making videos before the war on Israel because I felt like no one is actually talking about Israel's real position, about the truth of the conflict. So the Israeli PR is just talking in sound bites, and meanwhile in the academies they are rewriting history and completely delegitimizing Israel, delegitimizing the Zionist movement, uh, um, creating a false image of first, uh, Jewish identity, creating describing Jewish identity as a religious identity and not a national one. Of course, the history, people in the world now believe, that there was once a Palestine, that
Yeah, Jews and
Israel
Muslims
was,
lived together in peace for over
yes,
a thousand
yes,
years.
yeah, live together in peace. That the world gave Israel to the Jews as a safe haven after the Holocaust.
Uh-huh.
All that nonsense. Um, and uh, and people and no one was pushing back. Uh, kind
Yeah, the correct answer to these kind of noises is not, Israel is, Israel is our greatest ally. Like, yeah, you could talk about everything that Israel does for America in terms of cybersecurity and the $50 billion value that it gets that America gets for its $3 billion investment annually. Um, but the correct answer to these specific points are point by point refutations, ideally put forward um, by influencers who have some charisma and some online
yeah.
clout. There are channels like that. They've started to crop up to fill this vacuum. But
Yes. So this is why I am actually optimistic. I'm more optimistic than others because finally, this has forced us. This was forced us to actually start doing PR and start talking in the way it should be done. Basically, the way I see it, uh, America is the. Let's talk about America because America changed, and there's a lot of talk about America, public opinion turned against Israel. The way I see it, you have three things you have to focus on. There's the normies who always heard just the sound bites, and this war kind of exposed them to suddenly they got a deeper picture. And because of all the work done for decades in the academies in the West, uh, Israel is at a disadvantage at the moment. But because we're finally talking about the conflict, finally talking about the root of the conflict and all the points that they're bringing up, truth will eventually prevail. There's now a lot of influencers who have taken the Israeli position, who are supporting it, um, and they are. And they're bringing up this will eventually win because uh,
Reality has an inherent advantage, we find.
yeah. And the Palestinian PR is pro-Palestinian PR is based on lies. So this is one thing, just normies. The left, the way I see it, it's I mean, the left I'm talking about the woke left, yeah. So this is what kind of controls the discourse on the left in the past decade. And what is wokeness? Wokeness is the belief that there is some structure that is the root of all evil uh, in the world, and that we need to bring down that structure. So 10 years ago, it was the structure was patriarchy, and uh, and
Then it was
what happened?
yeah, then it was white supremacy, and now this
Yeah,
week
and
it's
then
Zionism, and next week it's going to be something else.
yes, no, then it went white supremacy, then it went cisnormativity, and now it's Zionism, and that controls the discourse and the narrative. Now this belief that Zionism is the root of all evil. If we get rid of Zionism, everything will be great. This is what's in control now. But if you look back, you see that what happened because of all the feminism, the talk about patriarchy, is that now every feminist talking point is under attack. And
Right,
and
intersectionality is self-defeating. More news at 11.
yeah, and same thing happened with the anti-whiteness. This, I mean, all the we remember when Black Lives Matter was in power. It's now completely yes. All that now people talk about black fatigue, yeah, also on that thing. Um, they're not buying that anymore. Same thing with the trans. The public turned against it, and the way I see it, this will also happen with the anti-Zionism thing. It will debunk itself
Do you think that terrorist
because
attacks like today's might play some role in having people lash back against it? Because when this the feminist overextension, the Black Lives Matter overextension, and the trans overextension, these things didn't collapse, just because they lost inertia. There were certain events that took place, escalating crime rates, a woman getting the shit beat out of her in front of millions of people by a trans woman on a boxing stage, things like that. There are these flashpoint moments that I wouldn't say that these movements lost support gradually, continuously. I would say that they lost support gradually, discontinuously. There were moments where suddenly there's a drop in support, and people are thinking, "Wait a minute, maybe this is bullshit." Do you think events like today's might be one such flashpoint, or do you think that there's another trajectory for the downfall of the anti-Zionist obsession, this week's obsession?
I think it will take years. I don't think that right now, people are just saying, "Oh, you just killed tens of thousands of Palestinians. Who cares about a few Jews killed?" Yeah. Uh, but over time, just keep, the reason, the thing that brought down feminism and all that is that people start to be exposed to the counter arguments. Um, and then all those events you talk about have their effect. Uh, So we need to get some distance from the wall first, and for the counter narratives to start taking hold. Uh, so that's on the left. On the right, there's the rise now of anti-Zionism on the right. It has a lot to do with the re-emergence of anti-Semitism, Christian anti-Semitism. Um, but the way I see it in the no, this one I'm less optimistic about, but what I see is, but I think if nobody's really countering it now, and I believe that once we start, it will get better. I think that the big problem is that is actually uh, not the Jewish Zionism, but Christian Zionism, which that's what they're pushing back against, the anti-Zionists on the right. Uh, because the Christian Zionists have this, a lot of them on the right believe that Israel is the beginning of the prophecy of the book of yeah, of the book of Revelation. So they are supporting Israel because of that. Um, they are
And the market share of this demographic is decreasing because the younger generations are not adhering to this particular Christian doctrine. And
Yes, and that's the pushback. The younger generation is pushing back against that. Because but I think they are, instead of realizing that it comes from Christian theology and Israel has nothing to do about it. I think that they think that this is because they call them Israel first. Yeah, those Christian Zionists act like they care about Israel more than about America. Because for them, Israel is the beginning of redemption.
well, it seems it
Salvation.
seems to me that
Uh,
in principle the fix to this should be relatively straightforward. It's this is the money that we give to Israel. This is how much and not even money. The overwhelming majority comes in the form of subsidies to our own defense industry that Israel um, takes advantage of. This is what we give to them, and then that's one number, and then this is how much value they bring to us as a consequence of that
yeah,
alliance. Here's another number, and the second number is substantially bigger than the first number. That's the rational case for why we should maintain our alliance with
yeah.
Israel. But for some reason, if this case were to be made, it doesn't. I'm not persuaded that this younger generation who is turned off by the end times revelations type of argument. I don't think that this is necessarily going to persuade them, and I wanted to maybe get your sense on why that might be the case.
Um, I don't know if it will not persuade them. I think that this is one of the things they have to push back on. First of all, push back on the idea that Israel is kind of behind this Christian Zionist thing. I think this is what they think. They think that the Jews are in control, and for proof, look at all these Zionists, or look at all these Christians who support Israel first. Um,
Well, the Jews are in
so
control seems to be the premise, not the conclusion.
yeah,
So, if
but
given that premise, there's a more fundamental problem I think that they're responding to, um, or which they believe they're responding to, that they're responding to a ghost. Uh, they think that their country is overtaken by Jews in education, Jews in media, Jews in law, Jews here, Jews there, Jews everywhere, Jews under the bed, Jews in the closet. Jews cause everything. Jews have agency. Nobody else has Jews, right? Um, and if you tell them, we benefit from our relationship with Israel, if they adopt this premise, it is not obvious to me that that's necessarily going to persuade them.
right. Um, so I don't know. Like I said, I don't know exactly. This is kind of a new thing, yeah. This sharp rise in anti. I mean, you could see it on 4chan 15 years ago, but now it's kind of, now it's mainstream.
Well, the left created the permission structure for something like this to happen, right?
yeah,
For the past 10 years, they've
yeah,
been talking about how structures and institutions are the things that govern the trajectories of everybody's lives, and it's what defines good and evil in the world. And there are certain types of large scale relationships that the left is very reluctant to talk about. It's very reluctant to talk about, for example, minority crime rates. It's very reluctant to talk about the which we call it the spread of diseases among certain demographics under certain conditions, and they're not reluctant to talk about Zionism, quote unquote Zionism, which makes for a convenient Trojan horse for anti-Semitism. Right, the right now gains permission, so to speak, from the left to talk about quote unquote Jewish influence, and you see the looping of the horseshoe around where Anna Kasparian starts to sound like Candace Owens, and vice versa.
yeah. And they're actually talking about. I mean, I could see it years ago with Jimmy Dore, who was followed by both the right and the left.
Yeah, Kyle Kalinske. You know, they were all repeating the same bullshit stories
Yeah,
on the fringes,
yeah,
and
yeah, and pulling in, and they were talking about uniting the right and the left, and they were looking for the things that would unite it, the populist things that would unite it, and they found anti-Semitism as the uniting. Uh,
'twas ever
thing.
thus.
Hmm?
'Twas ever thus.
I didn't get that again.
This has always been the case. Anti-Semitism has always been more of a glue than it has been a coherent ideology. Anti-Semitism is the tool you use to stick together contradictions that otherwise wouldn't make sense, and it's what makes your ideology work where it wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah. Um, but I think that people don't want to be anti-Semites. So if you push back, and it will, no, maybe not persuade everyone, but um, enough people. Um, I think the one thing they are they are correct about that is that Americans should not be Israel first, and that goes to Jews as well. If you're a Jew, you have a choice.
But who
You
is
either
Israel
you need,
first? Because I haven't seen any Israel first people. I've seen the accusation of Israel first being thrown around, uh,
yeah.
but this seems to me to be more of a narrative than it is a response to anything
Yeah,
real.
doesn't Ben Shapiro go around saying I can defend Israel above all, and uh,
But I've never seen Israel first attitudes from Ben Shapiro. I see a lot of things that get attributed to Ben Shapiro that I don't believe he's ever said.
yeah. So okay, but I'm saying Israeli Jews should know that should make it clear that if they decide to not immigrate to Israel and remain Americans, then their loyalty is to the U.S. So they can, of course,
But that
their
goes without
sympathy
saying.
is with Israel.
That goes without saying. The,
Yeah,
the trouble that I see here is
I don't think it goes without saying. I think you should say it. And I think now that in this situation you should say it. Um, because this is the accusation. The accusation
but
is
the
that a lot of Jews are
but the
anti-Semites.
accusation doesn't exist. I don't believe that the accusation is sincere. I think the accusation exists. Let me put it this way: the anti-Semite does not accuse the thief of stealing because the anti-Semite does not accuse the Jew of stealing because he genuinely believes that the Jew is a thief. The anti-Semite accuses the Jew of stealing because he derives sadistic pleasure from watching the Jew turn his pockets out in a futile bid to prove his innocence. That's what I think this accusation amounts to. They want to watch the Jew dance. That they don't want assurances. They just want the power to make the person who they think is causing them to be less powerful to dance.
Okay, well, but you're not trying to persuade the anti-Semites. You're trying to persuade the those who are susceptible to them. And
I don't know that there's a distinction. I think that if someone is suspicious that the Jews are not or are more loyal to another country than they are to their own country, um, you know, what would explain this if not a general suspicion towards Jews?
yeah, so okay, I don't know the answer, but like I said, this is the accusation right now, and this is one of the things that needs to be addressed. And in that, the fact that you talked about before, that America actually is actually the beneficiary of the relationship with Israel, uh, or is at least a beneficiary, and some would say the bigger beneficiary. Uh, this point has to be made, and I'm not seeing people making it in those arguments, in those debates. I'm not seeing the American weapons industry coming out and say we need uh, this relationship with Israel.
Well, that would probably be
We
that would probably be politically to their disadvantage because the weapons industry knows that the left and libertarian segments of the right hate them. You know, the military industrial complex is it's good for American economics. It's not good for the American culture war. So I don't really see them stepping forward to shoot their shot.
okay. Look, Israel is the result of one of the outcomes of the war is that now Israel is probably moving towards independence from that.
So let's talk about that.
Uh, yeah, the basically the relationship began. I mean, after the 6 Days War of 1967, this is when America started to get more. We realized that Israel is the biggest weapon against communism, uh, because everywhere else, its allies were failing in Vietnam, in South America, uh, but Israel was defeating the Soviets in the Middle East. So America started to its relationship with Israel, and then kind of the Soviets kind of backed away from the Middle East uh, in the 70s when they kind of realized that the Arabs are uh, yeah a hopeless cause. And the Americans stepped in, and they got the Israel-Egypt peace accord. And part of the peace accord, America, one thing it promised to Egypt is aid, and aid to build its army, and to Israel, they said, okay, we are making the Egyptians stronger, so we will aid you as well. So even bigger aid to the Israeli army and to Israeli society. We would also get civilian aid in the 70s, because Israel was still quite a poor country back then. So basically, what happened was it was selling to both sides, the U.S., which meant that both sides were dependent on it for, first of all, you need to continue to buy from America weapons, because to be stronger. Israel needed now to continue to buy weapons to remain to stay stronger than Egypt, because if we weren't stronger than Egypt, the peace process will collapse. The Egyptians don't want this peace. Um,
Right, but now Israel and Egypt are at least nominally allies.
no,
No.
they're seriously talking. In Israel, we're still talking about Egypt is preparing for war with Israel all the time, preparing its army, preparing its society. Uh,
Right now?
so, yeah,
Interesting.
um, yeah, um, and okay, so this happened in seven. Now we became dependent on America for once you buy all the weapons from America. Uh, so the deal was basically that we buy our weapons almost exclusively from America, and in return, America subsidizes part of that. Part of the part of the party it gives Israel money to buy American weapons, um, and which meant that we became dependent on the U.S. for ammunition. Yeah, so of course, so America was making money like that because Israel needed to keep on buying ammunition from America. Now it changed over the years because Israel became stronger and richer. Israel doesn't need aid now, but now it's basically now kind of a deal in which America keeps on subsidizing part of Israel's weapon buying. In return, it gets first of all testing its weapons in battle because Israel is constantly uh, is constantly at war.
Right. You get to beta test what
Yeah,
will eventually
yeah,
become
that's
our missile defense
yeah,
systems.
and Israel also demonstrates the superiority of these weapons, which means that everybody buys from America. So America gets back for it's something like $4 billion a year now that they give Israel to buy weapons, American weapons. It gets back a lot more, yeah, in weapons that they sell to other countries. Um, so that's the deal. Now, implicit in that deal is that when we need ammunition for those weapons, uh, we get it from America. And Israelis feel that uh, America did not, for a while at least, with the Biden administration, did not live up to that part of the deal.
Right.
They
There was
were
there was
kind
a
of withholding.
there was at
Yeah,
least one instance where Congress gave the approval to send munitions over, and the Biden administration, the executive administration, halted the transfer of those weapons.
yeah,
Uh, and that's a major problem as far as the alliance is concerned.
yeah. And so now, eventually, America came through, yes, because once Trump was elected, he gave Israel the ammunition we needed to win the war, and we won it. But now Israelis feel like, okay, so America can't be trusted,
Well,
so we need
I
to,
mean,
yeah,
it seems you're in a position where your national security may be dependent upon who another country happens to put in the Oval Office once every 4 years, and that kind of instability
yeah,
in terms of in terms of policy and in terms of something as central as national defense, that can definitely I can see how that could be a problem. So the question now
yes,
becomes: does Israel have the capacity to mass produce its own munitions, and what happens if those munitions, those production facilities, get targeted, as tends to happen in a war?
hmm yes. So first of all, if we are moving towards independence, uh, on that, we create our own weapons, and that will take time because currently we are creating most of our own weapons except for the Air Force. The Air Force is completely uh, based on American jets, and developing an Israeli jet will take years. So this is something that will, if we decide that now, it will still take a few years. And then, yeah, the question of ammunition. But okay, I probably will have to make deals with other countries to store ammunition, or even to create ammunition to have factories. Like a country like India, yeah, uh, to have factories to create Israeli ammunition when we need it. Um, so this is something that can happen. Uh, yeah, and this is the thing that's talking about now, and yeah, and I think America is kind of killing the goose that lays the golden eggs here.
Do you think that
Um,
America is handing Israel over potentially to Russia?
I seriously doubt Russia.
Well, what I'm saying is, it seems to me, just based on some of the ways that Putin has been behaving in previous years, reaching out to try to do backdoor deals over Syria, referring to the Israeli population as a Russian-speaking population, and therefore implicitly under the protection of Russia, at least in some sense. Um, do you see the possibility of a realignment where uh, Russia decides, hey, look, there's this huge asset in the Middle East that we can pick up, and now Israel can become our client instead of America's client. Do you see any possibility of that happening?
I think Israelis trust Russia much less than they trust America.
Yeah, that's probably the right
Uh,
call.
and yeah, I don't think that will happen. So yeah, and I mean, it's not like Russia doesn't have anti-Semitism.
For sure, but you know, it isn't obvious to me that Russia has much of an ideology beyond everyone who speaks Russian belongs to us.
yeah, yeah, and but not enough Israelis speak Russian.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I don't think I don't think Russia is trustworthy, and I don't think Israelis think that.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
But I still think Russia might try to make some moves, at the very least, to benefit from America's loss.
yeah, maybe Israel will try to play it like between the two, but yeah, I think the alliance with the US will remain. We will just move towards independence.
Right. Let's talk
Um,
about two other countries that have become a lot more active in this conflict in recent years. The first, most obvious one is Qatar, which is less of a country than it is a media conglomerate that happens to use forced labor for the majority of its economy. And the other country is Turkey under Erdogan. So, what's the nature of their role in this game, and are they going to replace Iran as Israel's main adversary in the future?
they are both Muslim Brotherhood. Erdogan is a Muslim Brotherhood guy. Qatar, the Emir, the is believes in the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood, and that's the thing. It's this. I think it's just the man. I think it's not the country. The man believes in the ruler. I don't. I'm not sure if it's the entire ruling family. I'm not that big an expert on Qatar, but I know that the current ruler is a Muslim Brotherhood advocate. He believes in the ideology, and this and I'm told from that. I know I have money. I have yeah a lot of unlimited money, and I will use it to spread Muslim Brotherhood. First of all, ideology, and secondly, actual power. Actually trying to overthrow our regimes and install Muslim Brotherhood players instead. Uh, so that's the support of and Hamas is Muslim Brotherhood, so they both support Hamas. In Turkey, it's hard because Erdogan needs to knows that not the entire country is not the entire country is Muslim Brotherhood, and he needs and it is kind of it is still kind of democracy. So he needs to dismantle it step by step. So he's working slowly. Um, as for Iran, uh, the thing that happened with Iran in this war is that they lost honor. Uh, and definitely Hezbollah lost honor. I mean, Hezbollah is not the people without balls. In the Middle East, the one thing you cannot lose is honor. Once you are shown as someone that cannot protect his honor, you are uh, you are seen as weak, and then people will prey on that. This is, by the way, why all the Charlie Hebdo thing. You remember, uh, where people in the West didn't understand if you're that angry about we showing Muhammad as a terrorist, yeah. Why are you doesn't that kind of refute what debunks what you're saying. You are showing that Muhammad is actually a terrorist. Uh, that's what the satire that Charlie Hebdo was doing. Uh, but uh, but the Muslims see it differently. They have a different worldview. They see an attack on Muhammad as an attack on honor, which they must punish because if they don't, the West will see that they are weak and will then attack them militarily. Um, so Iran and Hezbollah lost honor in this war, uh, and uh, and I don't think they will survive this. They will try to win back their honor. Um,
Do you think that
uh,
internal unrest in Iran, with Tehran losing its water supply, for example, do you think that might result in another revolution, or is that just wishful thinking? Do the Iranian people just want to chill?
every few years, there's a spark that starts something and ignites something in Iran. And I think that now that the Iranian regime is seen as, first of all, as corrupt, can't even provide water to its people, but even more importantly, without honor, can't protect the honor of its people. I think it might fall because of that. If they can't win back their honor, um, I think this is something that can bring them down. And uh, okay, so I don't think it's wishful thinking. I think it can happen. Um,
So
the
let's say Iran falls. Does that mean that the big major opposition now is Qatar and Turkey?
Yeah. So if the this Iranian axis falls, it means the fall of Shia jihadism. Uh, if if that falls, it strengthens Sunni jihadism, and then it's Turkey and Qatar uh, who are the leaders of that. So the kind of the leaders of Islamism, and and they will support jihadi council. Jihadism is an extension of that. So it's not like if Iran falls, everything is hunky dory here. Yeah, it will just bring the rise of and then you don't. Yeah, it's hard to know where Saudi Arabia will go because Saudi Arabia currently is kind of allied with Israel over Iran, over the opposition to Shia because they are worried about Shia jihadism. If Iran falls, uh, there's no telling where Saudi Arabia will go because the other uh, the other side of it is that Saudi Arabia does want to change. There is real reform there because they realize that oil probably will not be enough. That they need to develop other things, and they want to be allied with the West and with the Jews and to make business with the Jews. Um, this is actually something new that has happened in recent years. Um, in the 90s, there was an Israeli foreign minister, Shimon Peres, who believed that this is when the peace process began, the 90s. He believed that the way to bring peace in the Middle East is through economy, creating kind of regional economic structures. Um, this is the neoliberalism of the 90s and all that. And he was pushing for that. And when after the peace process began, he arranged a big conference. I think it was in Morocco, about creating these regional kind of economic structures and plans. And Israelis came there very excited, with maps and uh, presentations and all that. And the Arabs freaked. Oh my God, the Jews are trying to take over. It's yeah, they're trying to rule us. So the whole thing fell apart. Um, and you can't do that in a top-down way. but in recent years, businessmen started to rise in businessmen in the Arab world, in the UAE, uh, in other places, and they want to do business with the Jews. So now there is this rise of economic plans and structures and all that regional, which can be actually uh, a counterforce to the war. Uh, it's very questionable if it will hold. Um, yeah. So I was answering actually your question about your initial question about whether Turkey and Qatar will overtake Iran. If Iran falls, then yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Got it. Um, is there anything urgently that you feel people need to know about this conflict that we haven't touched upon during our 13 minutes of talking so far?
I mean, I don't know if they even know the history of the conflict, and the thing that I'm always trying to push, the realization that the Jews are a nation, and uh, and always have been, and that the reason why they were kept away from Israel for years, for 2 millennia, is that both Christianity, mainly Catholicism, and Islam had the theological need to show, because they both believe themselves to be the new chosen people, both Catholics and Muslims, to replace the Jews. So they needed to show that the Jews
When
have been
when you say new chosen people, what exactly do you mean by that?
that they are God's people now. They are the ones who are now
That
the carriers of God's
it's
will, and not the Jews.
it's been my understanding that their conception is not so much of peoplehood in the national sense, um, as it is a new doctrine, or in the case of Islam, an old doctrine that was subsequently corrupted by the Jews. Muslims think that they're the original
Yeah.
monotheists and that Jews created a knockoff religion that
No, they don't
corrupted
think
it.
that they are the original monotheists. They think that the Quran is the original the original word of God,
Right.
which has been corrupted by the Jews.
Right. So
Uh,
Muslims are the original monotheists, and then
yeah,
some
well,
people corrupt it. They become Jews and Christians, and now the people who come along later, the Muslims, are reclaiming that original
yeah,
conception. Yeah. So um, there's that aspect with Islam, and then with Christianity, the idea is that the law and more importantly the ability to transcend the law through the sacrifice of Jesus is now available to everybody irrespectively of whether they keep the law, provided that they satisfy Christianity's criteria.
no, but the church saw itself as the new
The new Israel, right. But
yeah,
I think kind of the nature of the relationship is, my kind of read on it is they wanted to distinguish themselves from a knockoff version of Judaism. They don't want people to point to Catholics and say, "Oh, this is just an obvious plagiarism of Judaism. You're just an offshoot of that." And the way institutionally that defense gets applied is the Jews are forced into second class membership in society, and Judaism
yeah.
gets vilified.
Judas gets vilified, and the Jews have to be shown as people who have fallen, yeah, people who have been forsaken by God, uh, and 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 because of that, Jews could not be shown to be sovereign people back in the homeland of Israel. So they had to be kept away, and and they were kept away for centuries, and not allowed basically uh, to express their national identity, only the religious identity. So the Jewish religion basically kept the nation, the national identity alive by with through religious rituals, through which the Jews kept passing on the story of the nation of Israel, of how it came to be, and the dream that one day it will return to Israel and be sovereign again.
Right. So
And the
it sounds like what you really want people to take away is that Jews have a national identity and they have the right to sovereignty in their homeland.
Yeah, and and that the worst thing that has been done to the Jews is the exile. I mean, if you look at the Jews, they know they were suffering a lot of things while in exile, but the thing that the worst, the thing that hurt them the most was the exile. That was the thing that they were always uh, lamenting the fact that they are no longer sovereign people, that the fact that they are away from their homeland. Um, uh, and
And the world should not attempt to restore this condition because that is
yeah,
from yeah
that was the big that was that was
that
that was the worst thing that was done to the Jews.
that was the sort of thing
Uh,
that made the Holocaust and all the other stuff possible in the first place.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and which means that anti-Zionism is vile.
It attempts to recreate the very conditions that allowed the Holocaust to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. Allowed the suffering of 2,000 years to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I mean, the Jewish communities during the exile, in every country, they were not called. They did not call themselves, let's say, the Moroccan community. They call themselves the Moroccan exile or the Polish exile. Okay, the Jews always saw themselves as people who are alienated to their real to their real identity, to who they really are. People who are exiled, people who are not whole, um, as long as they were in exile. And the suffering came from that. That was the big point of suffering. Which is, by the way, why we are so much still. We believe a lot of us at least, with many lost out, but still support the Palestinian. We feel like we understand their pain. Uh, um, so I still support the two-state solution. Yeah, because I don't want to inflict the same pain on the Palestinians. Problem is,
Do you think that their pain comes from their inability to express sovereignty, or do you think their pain might be more related to the fact that the Jews have sovereignty?
yeah, beginning to wonder. Look, I think the thing is that ever since they got, the Palestinian, they got Palestinian Authority, they got self-rule, the Palestinians. The whole Palestinian national identity has been unraveling. The uh, we believe that once they have self-rule, they will start building their nation. And instead, it was kind of it's kind of falling apart. You hardly see them talk about it anymore. Like this is what yeah. I mean, Palestinians intellectuals in the 80s or 70s, 80s, they were and terrorists. They were talking about the Palestinian nation.
Right. There
And
could have been.
a
There,
lot of them were Christians. A lot of them were Christians, and were pushing this nation thing.
Yeah, there could have been an answer
Uh,
to the question: what is the Palestinian outside of the Nakba, outside of the Shaheeds, outside of the terrorism? What is Palestine outside of that? And if you ask them that today, the answer is either silence or something like olive trees and keys.
yeah. Yeah. So the Christian were kind of kicked out of the whole Palestinian movement. Yeah. And they were the ones who were pushing nationalism, and they were the ones who were talking to the West and all that. And the refugees are not talking about a return to Palestine. They're talking about a return to their village. Um, it's as a Jew, everywhere in Israel is the same. It has the same amount of in the land of Israel has the same amount of importance. You don't feel yourself away from home. You don't feel yourself exiled if you live in Petah Tikva instead of Jerusalem. Yeah, you're still in your homeland. The Palestinians kind of they want only their village. This is what they talk about. And then there's the thing that they don't marry. It's rare that they marry outside of their family, uh, because Jews, the moment they came back to Israel, everybody's marrying everybody. The Polish is marrying the Ethiopian, the Moroccan is marrying the Argentinians, uh, all that, and and the Palestinians, they have, Palestinian family is kind of like this big clan thing. Uh, and they marry only within the family. I won't say only, but that's still the dominating thing. Uh, they don't marry outside of the family.
Yeah, like 70%
So,
of Gazan marriages are between cousins.
yeah, because I don't know cousins or kind of distant cousins or uh, but yeah, inside the family, and which means that they are not. It's not a nation. It's the thing. A nation. It's a group. It's a group identity.
Right.
So every
What you have
nation's
here is a collection
a,
of
na-
tribes, is what you're saying.
yeah, a nation would see itself as us first of all, primarily us. There's us and there's all the rest. Yeah, Jews have a word for the West. Yeah, there's us and then there's the goyim. Yeah, which means the nations. Yeah. Um, when you don't have that, so the definition, you first of all define yourself. When you define, when a group defines itself, not of itself, but in opposition to someone else, that's not a group identity. That's an alliance. And the Palestinians are looking more and more like an alliance, not a group. Uh, like you said, they are defining themselves in opposition to Zionism, to the Jews. Uh, and yeah,
Well,
and one of the things. Okay, you asked me what I want to talk about. Uh, who's to blame here? So okay, there is the Palestinian. Uh, the Palestinian identity has its problems. It is much exacerbated by two groups. One is world jihadism, and the other is the academic left in the West, which, uh, to me, I would say it's 70% of the blame goes to jihadism and 30% to the academic left. Uh, because as someone who's always supported the peace process, I believed, I knew that the Palestinians, themselves, that they are against any peace and any two-state solution or all that. But what I believe is, once we give them self-rule, the Western world will tell them, okay, now you have to change. Now you have to accept the Jews. The Jews have shown you that they are willing to live in two states. Yeah, they gave you self-rule, and that's part of the process. Now you have to show that you are willing to live with the Jews, with the Jewish state, next in coexistence.
On paper, they're going to say yes, yes. Mahmoud Abbas is going to say absolutely. This is all we ever wanted, and then quietly he's gonna pay off militias unaffiliated with the state, pay off their families, tell them go ahead, cause chaos, make it so that Israel is forced to respond, and then we'll use that as a pretext for saying we only wanted to live in peace. Now they're attacking all of us.
I'm not surprised by that. What I the big shock to me and the thing, the black pill, was the left, the academic left, completely shown that it is against the two-state solution. It wants the destruction of Israel.
That's not surprising to
I mean,
me.
look, yeah, when Hamas took over Gaza, I was actually kind of happy about it. I said, okay, great. Now we can put pressure on Hamas to change. We can we blockade it, and we tell, unless you change, the blockade remains. Yeah. And I believe that the Western academic, the Western left, the West basically will support us on this, and that will leave basically Hamas with no alternative. You either change and accept Israel's right to exist, or you can't, or you get nowhere.
But the left fundamentally is unconcerned with the well-being of humans. Their principal objective is the dismantling of the West. And Israel, from their point of view, is the place where that dismantling is most likely to begin taking place. So of course they're going to oppose a two-state solution. A two-state solution would stabilize the conflict. It would stabilize Israel, and that would help to stabilize the West. And if that helps stabilize the West, that goes against what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, are you talking about the academics or about Hamas?
Both.
Yeah.
Mostly academics, since they're thinking about it in terms of West versus global South.
Yeah, that's the thing. The academics want to destroy Israel as the first building block, as the first domino to destroy the West. And this is when I realized that. I kind of went online and I asked, why aren't you supporting us? Why aren't you helping us put pressure on Hamas to change? And then I realized that none of them wants to help us, and none of them wants a two-state solution. And now, when the Palestinians see that, why would they change? They believe that the West eventually will turn against Israel because the academics are against Israel. The academies are against Israel. The academies want to destroy Israel. And now they also see that the American right is turning against Israel. So they believe that they just need to keep refusing any settlement. And eventually, the entire world will turn against Israel. So there's no... the two-state solution, basically, there's four principles. One, it's two nation states, a Jewish nation state and a Palestinian nation state. That's the first principle. The second principle is 67 borders. Based on the 67 borders, the third principle is that Jerusalem, some sort of compromise. I believe that the western side, the western side of Jerusalem should be the capital of Israel, and the eastern side should be the capital of Palestine, and the old city some sort of joint rule, and the fourth is that the refugees, the Palestinian refugees, will find a home in Palestine, not in Israel. This is what I believe in. This is what the Israeli left believes in. This is what I believe that
But you have no
most
partner on the
Israelis
other side.
most Israelis will agree to if they see a partner on the other side. If there are Palestinians on the other side who believe in those four principles. To this day, we have to encounter even one Palestinian who believes in even one, or accepts even one of these principles.
So it seems then that the appropriate response, given that nobody on the other side believes in this, is to adopt a more hardline position in order to force them to moderate.
I mean, yeah, I think that from here on we are. Uh, there's no. Israel has been kind of for the last 30 years. The idea was kind of that we separate between the terrorists and the Palestinian society, and we are trying to help the Palestinian society to grow while fighting terrorism. I think that's over. I think from here on we are cracking down. Uh, I think this is. Uh, we will see if if this remains. Uh, but I think that this is what Israelis feel now that needs to be done. But just a continuous crackdown on terrorism, on all those organizations, uh, without any regard to what the Palestinian Authority wants. There's no, yeah, there's no partner. Um, and so until the Palestinians can't take it no more, I think this is the idea now. Um, yeah.
Well, as we come to the close here, as we wrap up, are there any final words you want to share for our listeners?
I know that. Are there any questions, chat? Because I don't see the chat.
The chat has not issued any questions,
Yeah.
but they seem happy to hear from you and from me, and it has indeed been a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, thank you for joining me, Zarathustra. It's always a pleasure to talk, and thank you the 30 of you or so who dropped by during this cast. We hope to see more as we publish this. And if you have any questions or have any comments or disagreements, feel free to post them in the comment section. And have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.